What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to talk about Dark Dimension 6 and also the changes to the raids. Very good news, very exciting. So we're going to talk about all of that. Were the concerns I in the past confirmed or not? It seems that the rumors were not true, which is a good thing. And that will change the mindset, not only in terms of Dark Dimension, but also in terms of raids. Which teams should we invest in? We're going to talk about all of that in this video. And as always, if you like the information on this video, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content. And make sure you smash that like button. Let me know in the comments below, are you excited for Dark Dimension 6? Are you excited for these new raids? Let's go, because let me know in the comments below, because we're going to talk about all of that. And I always like to learn, like to read your opinions. Okay, anyway, so Dark Dimension 6 is coming back finally. Yes, we had good experiences with the Scourges. I did not have a good experience with the Sagas. The Sagas were kind of disappointing, to be honest. But the Dark Dimension always felt more impactful. Comparing Dark Dimension 4, Dark Dimension 5, even Dark Dimension 3 with the Scourges and with the Sagas, they were so challenging. It was such a community event where we had to do multiple videos, theory crafting, which are going to be the best teams, and updates to teams for Dark Dimension, and which is the kill order that you should use, which isolate should use specifically for Dark Dimension. So it was a big deal, not only in terms of organizing which teams you're going to take and which isolate and so on, but also on the challenge of the nodes. Some nodes, they would require multiple attempts. Some nodes, it would require a new team or a new set of characters to pair up together just to overcome this challenge. It was insane, and I felt like that was way more interesting than the Sagas. If there is no challenge to overcome, then it's just fucking boring, and that, at the end of the day, that's what Apocalypse was. We had the Scourges, and the Scourges were great, but the finale of the Scourges and the Sagas, it was super disappointing because it was so easy. If there is no challenge to overcome, if there is no requirement of organization and setting up and so on, but that requires theory craft, not just whaling out, because the Sagas were all about whaling out. Are you paying enough? Are you paying like thousands and thousands of dollars to get Isolate Blue level 4 and level 5? If that was not the case, then there was no point. So once again, Dark Dimension are always more impactful to the community than the Sagas and the Scourges were, and thankfully the Dark Dimension 6 is coming, and we have a new character. So the character is going to be the Super Skrull. I'm not sure if Super Skrull is as impactful as Doctor Doom and Dormammu was in terms of lore. Even Ultron, sure, he's a very powerful character. He can mimic the powers of other characters, and you can see right here we are getting some hints for the Fantastic Four. Is the Super Skrull going to synergize with Fantastic Four? Is the Super Skrull going to get slapped by the Kree in the future? We'll take a look at that when it happens. But it's definitely an interesting character. Not sure if it's at the same level as the previous one. We don't have a lot of MCU references for the Skrulls right now. There will be a movie in the future, and maybe that's the timeline on when this new Dark Dimension 6 will be available. But overall, sounds interesting. Dark Dimension is usually used to release infamous villains. Are we going to have a Light Dimension sometime in the future to release infamous heroes? That would be interesting as well. But yeah, so very excited for Dark Dimension. I already have a lot of teams in mind to use on the specific lanes, so let's talk about the lanes. We have non-legendary, city, global, cosmic. Right now we have very powerful global teams, we have very powerful cosmic teams, and we have also very powerful city teams. So the biggest problem is going to balance the amount of mini uniques you need, but also balance the centerpiece uniques. The centerpiece uniques are going to be a huge bottleneck for this upcoming Dark Dimension. We have characters like Icarus that require astral energy, but you also have Psylocke and Apocalypse that also require astral energy. Then we have characters that require miasma on city and in cosmic as well. So this is going to be, once again, the biggest problem, is to organize not only the mini uniques, but also the centerpiece uniques to make sure that they do not stop the flow of progress through Dark Dimension 6. And on the previous one, it was required 18, then we had 22, so the next one, Gear Tier 18, is probably going to require maybe 24 centerpiece uniques, which is definitely a challenge to obtain at this point in time. Okay, so beyond that, we have a non-Horseman Legendary, so this is going to be your Omega Red, your Nick Fury, your Shuri, characters that have value in multiple game modes, like the ones I just mentioned. And then we have a Legendary and Apocalypse. So Apocalypse is not exactly legendary, but in this specific situation, we could use Horseman characters together with Apocalypse. Should we also double up on the value of these characters? Because we can use Apocalypse on global, and we could also use legendary characters. So you could have global Apocalypse, and then you could have Nick Fury plus Apocalypse on the last node. So it does not forces you to use Horseman characters. So in total, we have 5, 10, 15, 20 characters total, or you can get 5 additional ones if you want to take the Horseman plus Apocalypse, which I do not recommend. Once again, the biggest struggle, or one of the biggest struggles with Dark Dimension, is to make sure that you balance the amount of mini uniques for Gear Tier 18 with the amount of centerpiece uniques that you need for your characters. Okay, so for this new challenge on Dark Dimension 6, you will require Gear Tier 18. There is no ISO8 requirement for Dark Dimension 6. This is good news, but it's also bad news. Maybe it's more good news than bad news. This tells me that the ISO8 Purple was delayed. ISO8 Purple delayed, maybe second part of 2023, maybe 2024, but it really sounds like that. And it's a good thing. No one really enjoyed the requirements for the sagas with ISO8 Blue level 4 and ISO8 Blue level 5. People are still struggling with that right now, so maybe it will be a requirement on Dark Dimension 7, but I'm glad that is not a requirement on Dark Dimension 6. So for this gear tier, we are going to get them through raids. We are going to obtain gear tier 18 through raids, which will allow you to enter in Dark Dimension 6 and unlock the Super Scroll. So now that we have the connection between Dark Dimension 6 and raids, let's talk about the raids. Now, taking a look at this map of the raids, the map is kind of weird because we have one single lane on the left side. This lane is completely linear. We have mutant nodes, supposedly. We have a bio, we have a skill, we have tech, and then we have tech again. So it's interesting because this does not give us an answer if you need like origin, fully origin teams, or if we can have some flexibility on these raid nodes. So far, it seems like we're gonna start with Dead Seed, then we're gonna have the Rebirth, then we're gonna have the Invaders, and finally Tech Team. The Tech nodes are going to be extremely hard, and the Mystic nodes, it might be the one with Kang, but we have to wait and see because we have no information on this. We just know for sure that the Tech Team is going to be the next to be replaced. Okay, so beyond this linear wave, and this is going to be a two-person lane. This is going to be for 2 people, and this one is going to be for 3 people, 3 people. So 8 players, 2, 3, 3. Now, this is not great in terms of alliance leadership because setting up 2 players on each of these lanes is going to be quite problematic. So what I see right now is having 4 players, and then in the future we'll have 2 players, 3 players, 3 players. Very, very interesting. Maybe Scopely did this on purpose to force us to do 4 players for now, and then upgrade in the future based on how strong your teams are. Okay, so we have some good news on these incursion raids. So even that they tell us that these incursions will require characters from the multiverse and so on, they actually say that it's not going to be that important. So we're going to take a look at this part right here. Making progress in these incursions will be extremely important because you are going to get the gear tier 18 for Dark Dimension 6. Rebirth and Invaders will be extremely powerful and critical to your success. Now, critical does not mean required, and that's great because that means you can still use your Captain Sam, that means you can still use your Kestrel, that means you can still use your Shang-Chi if you so desire to progress to these raids. And they say that these raids will be designed with the teams released throughout 2023 will be designed with the incursions in mind. The problem with this statement is that both of the Invaders and both Rebirth, none of them have mechanics like the Astonishing X-Men had in the past. So in the past, the Astonishing X-Men, they had this mechanic that whenever you kill an enemy, you get additional turn meter. And the nodes were made on purpose for you to use Astonishing X-Men. So it had a bunch of Gregs, it had a bunch of multiple mans that whenever you would attack them, you'd get additional turn meter, and that would allow you to overcome the Gregs, and that would also allow you to overcome the X Factor. And with Rebirth and Invaders, you don't have any kind of these mechanics. So I'm a little bit confused on what's the point of what they are trying to do. They are telling us, oh, you really need these teams. Is this a bait? I think it's a bait. I think this is some kind of FOMO telling us that, oh yeah, if you don't have these teams, you are not going to be as successful. But at the end of the day, they are not saying that these teams are required. So you probably can skip these teams anyway and make hybrid teams that once again increase your agency and give you a better experience overall, because it does not feel great when you are forced to invest in characters that you don't identify with, or that you feel that they are not increasing your value of your account and of your gameplay experience. So overall, this is great news. In terms of the raid incursions, it's definitely great that we are not going to be forced into this new meta of just Rebirth teams, just Invaders, and maybe you can even use Apocalypse with the Death Seed, because right now you kind of need Psylocke for Doom 3.5, but maybe in the future we'll have more options for each of these teams. So overall, very exciting news for Dark Dimension 6 and the raids. A lot more agency to the players. We are not forced into use these cookie cutter teams, and Super Scroll coming to the game. Are you excited for Super Scroll? Are you a big fan of Scrolls overall? Do you think that this means Fantastic Four and Kree are going to get a rework to help us fight the Super Scroll in the near future or in a far-fetched future? Let me know all of that in the comments below, and let me know how excited are you for upcoming Dark Dimension 6, and are you happy with the announcement that the incursion raids are going to be a lot more flexible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, entertaining, anything like that, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.